Comic Menu Podcast is sponsored by Realistic Comic Books. RealComicBooks.com.
All right. All right. Anytime. Hello. I thought I did it. I'm telling you guys, it's not easy getting old because I feel bad for everyone else. You get to a certain age where I just don't care anymore. So that means I don't care about the younger generation. Kind of sucks for them. Hey, look what it is. Tuesday. That's right, my friends. Oh, my friends. Tuesday night, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. You have a I don't know. You keep coming back. I'm always impressed because you could be anywhere else, but instead you choose to be here in the middle of my heart. Oh, that being said, you know who else is in my heart? Oh, the best color man in the business. Oh, here we go. Look at it. He's sitting up. He's getting ready. He's gonna say something stupid. He's fixing his hair. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that.
Something stupid.
Yeah, yeah. Dan has a face for comedy. And I'll just leave it, and I'll just gonna leave it there. We're just gonna leave it with there. There we go. The next man we got going on here is Comic Sam. Look at that, Comic Sam. Yeah, so I like Sam. I like Sam because he laughs at all my jokes. Unlike this guy right here, Ish. Ish only laughs at my jokes. Once in a while, you'd be surprised if he laughs at one of my jokes.
If this is the middle of your heart, I want out.
Oh, that's nice. That's not nice, my friend. But okay. But let me talk about the guys who we have showing up for the very first time. They're the first guests ever on this show, and I brought them in because of the topic that we're talking about, which is horror. Horror, people. HORROR. Horror. Okay, just let you know. It's not the other word.
Not to correct our illustrious host here, but they're not the first guest ever on this show. This is their first time on this show.
What did I say?
You said they're the first guest
They're
ever
the
on this
first
show.
guest to ever be on the show.
See what I mean? See what I mean about being old? It's
I got your
old.
Maybe you
It's
should start caring about
fantastic.
the youth.
okay. You know what? I'm not going to.
I for one can attest that Caesar's had some pretty fucking amazing guests. So,
oh, that's good. Thank you so much. All right, how about this guest right here, Mikey Gruesome from the Instagrams. Hey, Mikey, look at that.
Hey, I think we can retcon real history, and we can just become the first guest ever on the show.
Well,
Real history.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
The next guy, which I don't see, I don't know if his camera went out or anything. But see, I'm gonna bring him on here, see if it makes a difference. Oh no, he is gone. Well, just imagine this dude with dreamy eyes named Brian, movie man 4-star, who now he left and he's probably gonna come back. Oh, there he is. Let's look at that. Right on time. Let's see. Once again, see, Brian, we had you do this early. And so, and then you are doing live on the show. Oh my God. All right, people. Let's see who's going on, man. What's going on here? Sup, fam? What do you got us for today? Oh, Fred, we got some horror. We're going to be talking about some Bronze Age, some Golden Age horror. We're going to be talking about what it is about horror, what characterizes a horror book. And if it's not horror, then what genre does it fall in?
Are we also talking about this stupid fake X-Force rumor movie?
We could talk if we have time. We have time. Once again, waiting for Brian to come in. Once Brian shows up, everybody. Brian he's named Movie Man 4-star because back in the day he used to own a video store. Let's see if this time we see his pretty face.
What a cool job.
Oh, Brian. What a time to choke, my man. Wow. Wow, I'm going to call you out. It's not Movie Man 4-star. It's Movie Man Choke Star. It's what it is.
In his defense, it's cold as hell. Maybe his internet froze.
Oh, God. All right. What else we going on? What's going on there, Ricky? We had a countdown and everything.
Shout out to everyone watching that tuned in. Shout out to you all.
Yeah, man. What's up, Keyguard? Oh, Keyguard, look at that. Anyways, I won. That's the dude I won the Keyguard's the one I won the giveaway from, and there he is. See, is that why you were so late? You were scouring the closets for your Wolverine closet?
This, and I was like, "What did I touch?"
Oh God! All right. Well, there's Movie Man 4-star. Yeah, man. He used to own a video store back in the day, and we're going to talk about that. Chef. Oh, Chef is here. My name is Chef. There's Chef right there. Chef and Ish. There he goes. Ish is dressed like a hobbit. All right. As I got that going on. All right. This is fun, gentlemen. This is what we're gonna do. People who love the genre of horror, and you're going, well, when I think of horror, right? I think of let's see if I could let me see if I could do this. When I think of horror, I think of these kind of books right here. The Secrets, Haunted House, The Witching Hour. What else we got? Crypt of Shadows, Chamber of Chills, Secrets of the Haunted House, House of Mystery. Is some people might consider Werewolf by Night a bit of a horror because it's based on a werewolf. There's so many titles, right? It's unbelievable. And I'm going to go first. The reason why I like, and I don't collect horror. I'm not one of those guys who collects. I got it. What I do like about it is something about those covers that are the coolest covers. And I think for the most part, I think that's what it is. Next week, we're going to have Code Blue and Crime City and Talk PCH with Nick, Nerds Pub, and those are out of sight. Those are beyond. But the Bronze Age stuff is just, I don't know what it is. So I'm just kind of curious. Is that Sam talking? That's got to be Sam talking. Jesus, Sam, you're a ventriloquist
It's
or
either
something.
Sam or one of his lovely children.
Um,
That was the
Mike-
1-year-old. Thanks a lot, Caesar.
yeah, it's okay. Hey, I thought it was you. Hey, Mikey, what brings you to what is it? Is this something you've always liked since you were a kid, or you seem to appreciate it when you got older, or you've always liked it?
No, I think I've thought about this a lot. I think it starts as far back as I remember, like elementary school, and you're looking for a book, right? I think it kind of always starts with like, I'm gonna get this book on dinosaurs, right? I feel like it always starts with dinosaurs for some reason, right? Because we're little, they're scary looking. I used to always get the dinosaur books, the shark books, right? That doesn't mean I was into horror. I'm sure some people were into those books that don't like horror, but I think that kind of evolved into like, this is not a horror comic and this is not a horror TV show, but like the Ninja Turtles. If you ever look at their toys, my favorite toys were always like Muckman, Mutagen Man. Those were like my Rat King. These were like my favorite toys, and I think that's where it kind of like started. Is like, hey, I kind of like something about these gross monster looking things, and that slowly went into watching Friday the 13th at my cousin's house, and enjoying that feeling of being scared. I think some people I think this is like the difference between people that don't like horror and people that like horror is when you're in a setting and you're like, oh, it's scary, but I like it. And there's some people that's like, it's scary and I hate it, and I'm gonna go this other way. But I kind of dug that feeling. I loved going to the video store and just walking in the horror section. There are movies that I remember the cover of just from simply just like looking. I probably never saw the movie, but I remember the monkey like with the drums on like a cover for like a horror movie. I
No.
couldn't tell you
Monkey
what
Shines?
movie that
Monkey,
was.
Monkey Shines. Monkey
Nice.
Shines. Yeah, Monkey Shines. And what about you, Brian?
So I remember I'm much older than Mikey, but my first experience with horror books where it wasn't all horror, it was war books and horror books. Just riding my bike to the newsstand. Some of you all can probably remember a newsstand. You could just go, and they weren't in bags, they weren't in boards. You could just ride your bike, walk up, check out a book, and that was my first experience at seeing horror books. And I don't know, it was the cover. It was the cover art that just did it for me. And it was the same way with horror books. There was something that just grabbed me. And ever since then, nothing's changed. It's still the same thing. I feel the same way when I see a horror book. It takes me back to whenever I remember seeing it for the first time. And I was probably 10 years old, if I remember correctly. That young.
All right.
Horror book. So, so it wasn't like Mikey with Jurassic Park or dinosaurs or anything. I think my first experience was just a horror book, and it's just been there ever since. It's never left me. It's always been there.
How about you guys, Sam, Dan, and Ish? Are you guys, are you guys into the horror books, or what, or not so much?
I don't collect horror books really. I like a good horror book. I love the artwork. I love the covers. Are there some that I would love to go out and grab? Yeah, I think horror has gotten really expensive to even start. Like Bronze Age horror has skyrocketed, which it was overdue anyways, in my opinion. But there's just so much. I do love newer, like independent horror books that are coming out through Image. The new EC stuff, which I'm sure Ish will get into, is really cool. But horror for me started by collecting Goosebumps books. Like that was my first foray into horror from a literary standpoint. And I sought out all of them, read all of them, absolutely love them. Met R.L. Stine at New York Comic Con not too long ago, and that was just like a childhood dream fulfilled right there. So that was amazing. And then I love horror movies. My wife hates them, so I haven't stayed up on them. But I used to watch them all the time. And once I watched the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I was obsessed with horror.
I grew up in the '90s, and I feel like the '90s were a period of like a renaissance of horror in a way. Like I know that
Different kind of horror.
DC Vertigo was taken off, in the '90s, and I mean, two titles I think that really, I don't like horror movies. I'll tell you that much right now. Like I don't gravitate towards it. I've seen my fair share, but I just, as I was growing up, didn't watch horror movies. But I think in terms of reading, if I had to go back and look at, and one of the things that you don't really think of as horror is the Sandman, but there's a lot of horror in the Sandman, and so, regardless of Neil Gaiman's current history and what he's been doing, it's still a masterpiece work. So that's one of my kind of dipping the toe in the pool moments of horror is the Sandman, and I think the other piece is a whole John Constantine universe with Hellblazer. I mean, that to me, I remember reading that stuff, and it was just a departure from my Spider-Man and Ghost Rider books that I was reading. I'm like, holy crap, this is insane. The visuals and the storytelling was vivid and almost pulling you in, and you couldn't wait for the next issue. And it kind of felt like, in a way, to you, as a young kid, you're sort of like a little bit rebellious. You're like, oh, I shouldn't be getting away with reading this stuff, but it's kind of neat to be reading it. So I think that was kind of my first dip into the whole horror. And then even today, like, I don't really lean towards horror, but I talked to Ish earlier today, and he brought it up. He's like, man, you're reading horror right now, like Exquisite Corpses, Image by Nights by Image. I mean, The Nice House. I mean, Something is Killing the Children. I mean, these are amazing titles that really kind of, depending on who you're asking, are certainly horror titles. So,
Ish.
So for me, and I'm going to echo Dan's sentiment, right? I grew up in the 80s. So while I wasn't particularly a fan of horror films, I also didn't have a choice. Growing up in the 80s, you just kind of, if you wanted to be able to talk about things, first of all, just generally one TV households. If your parents watched it, you were exposed to it. And then your friends were talking about it as well. If Nightmare on Elm Street came on or what have you, like your friends were kind of talking about it. So you saw that stuff. I am the type of person, because I'm very creative, I have a very deep imagination. Some things I can take it and run with it imagination wise. And as a kid, I would really scare myself. That having been said, I grew up, and it's something that I want to touch on really quick. And I want to actually ask Mike and Movie Man about as well. I want to get their opinion on it. So I grew up obsessed from as early as I can remember with vampires. Obsessed. So that's not horror to me, right? Like I'm not, no part of anything vampire related I consider horror. Like I enjoy it. Like Mikey was saying, like I really enjoy it. And I don't enjoy it because I'm afraid. It doesn't even give me a feeling of fear at all. I mean, I watched Let Me In, Mikey, Let Me In Salem's Lot when I was a kid, and everyone else was like, oh, it's a scary scene. And I loved it. You know what I mean? Because I grew up obsessed with it. So
I still piss my pants when I see that. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me in, and he's at the window.
No, he doesn't. Just the fact that he's just scratching and he's floating there with those eyes. I mean, I watched that in a little tiny ass TV. I watched it in my room, small ass TV, and I had a big window right over me. It just even now, I just recently saw like a clip of it, of the little scratching. Even then, I looked at my wife. I said, "Get the fuck out of my room. Just get this. I don't want no one in here. I don't want no one in here. I want no one at all in my presence. Just get out."
So as
But,
far as
yeah,
modern comics, right? And it's something Dan and I were talking about earlier, right? Like, if a kid who's 7 years old reads, and I'm getting to a point really quick that I want to ask you guys about Ben Percy's run on Ghost Rider, right? There's some 6 or 7 year old kid, Ben Percy's run, and they've never read another superhero comic, right? They're not going to see Ghost Rider as a superhero. They're going to see this demon possessed guy who's fighting the devil, who's launching demons at him, and they're killing his loved ones. That's that. So, and so what I wanted to get at was, like, I like good writing. So like modern era stuff, I like the EC stuff. I really like EC Blood Type. Obviously, it's a vampire. You know what I mean? I like EC Crew Universe. I like Autumno, which was a horror a horror comic that came out in like 2020. I really enjoyed that run because the writing was really good. I like when a writer can get me invested in something that isn't my thing, but it's so compelling that so my question is, what are we or you? What do you guys classify as horror? Right? Does it have to have monsters and ghosts,
Yeah.
or does it have to have a concept or a premise that scares you?
Mhm.
You know,
Well,
and
I think the reason why people consider vampires horror, you can blame that on Universal monsters. Back in the day, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman,
Mummy.
I loved Dracula.
that was horror. So Dracula, vampires, that's where that comes from. So that's
I
why
wanted to be him. He had three chicks, and like, listen.
I mean,
Like,
Frankenstein was considered horror for, I mean, a lot of people still put that in a horror category. I was a Frankenstein collector for many years, and it's definitely horror. It's just the time period was so different from what we're dealing with now. It's not necessarily horror now.
It's funny you say that, Brian, because The Invisible Man would be considered horror.
Exactly. Well, at one point,
Right.
Invisible Man, you may correct me, Mikey, you probably know more than I do about this, but I'm pretty sure Invisible Man was thrown in with Universal Monsters.
Yes.
he
well.
is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
he
that-
is.
By the way,
Yeah.
that novel, that short story is really great. By the way,
Yeah.
really
So
great. Love it.
I can see the spinoff as far as vampires horror. Yes, for me, they are definitely horror. It's just something I've always considered horror.
hmm
I can see that.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I think all of that is horror for me, even though it's not scary to me. I mean, I can watch I'm sure we can all watch a Universal monster movie and not get scared at it, but still consider it horror.
Yeah, I consider
right?
vampires horror. It just
Yeah,
doesn't
it
scare
just
me
doesn't scare you
at all.
Yeah. I think there are some things I think that even though there's some horror elements to it, like I would watch Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street when I was a kid. The movie that scared me more than all of those was Predator. I was terrified of Predator. It was like an action movie. I mean, I know there's horror elements to it,
Yeah.
but like Freddy Krueger wouldn't scare me that much, but for some reason that Predator like clicking noise that
That's
he would
really
make
profound.
scared
I
the
was,
shit
I
out
was,
of me.
I was
Or when the
telling
guy's
Dad
out there going,
earlier today, the
whatever's out
comic
there,
character that
whatever's
scared me
out
the
there ain't
most as a
human.
kid was Beyonder. I was terrified of Beyonder when I read Secret Wars at like 6 or 7 years old. And there's this guy who has no moral compass that points in any direction and the power of a god. And he just does what he wants because he's curious. Like I was terrified. I'm like really afraid. Like, yo, what if this really exists? What if this guy just, he's wiping out sections of society just to see how people react and then brings them back. You know what I mean? And it's there's no emotion or moral compass whatsoever.
Mikey, you know what's interesting about your Predator comment is it kind of sparked a thought in my mind about like how I feel like that is like the inflection point of horror of movies. And like, you're talking to Caesar, he's talking about the whole visual of the scratching and the eyes. And I feel like movies of that day, they're psychological. They get in your head. They don't shock value you. I feel like nowadays I see modern horror movies and I'm like, those are insanely ridiculous. Not even scary. They're almost over the top. But I feel like the Predator timeline was when they started getting graphic with like you see the spines hanging and stuff like that. You didn't usually see that before. But if I go back
And
to
his
the
purr.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you go back and look at like Children of the Corn. They want you, Malachi, or shit like that. I mean, there was nothing in your face per se, but like the music and the tone and the slow pace and the suspense building, it was almost like
Sam is
fooling
close
you.
to scaring me. Yo, he put you in the category, Sam.
I
Sam,
feel like
Yeah.
no.
Sam.
That's just mean.
For me, I feel like horror movies have gotten less jump scare lately.
Yeah.
And like with the rise of A24 and the stuff that they've been doing, it's more of like a psychological
Like going back.
Like,
terrifying.
back.
Yeah,
Like,
it's going
80s
back
wasn't really
now.
jump scare. It was just slow burn music,
Yeah.
dark hallways and dark houses, and you know what I mean, gloomy
Yeah.
skies, and as soon as you know it was coming. It's interesting, right? Because you mentioned Predator, and when I was a kid, Alien was considered horror. And
Horror.
it came
Yeah.
on in
Oh,
the
yeah.
horror movie block. I mean, now it's
Mhm.
just science fiction, but it
Right.
actually came on in the horror movie block, like on the
Mhm.
movie channel or on HBO or on cable. They do the horror movie block, and Alien would be put it in space. No one cares. It's great.
Yeah, and Alien's
I
horror
think
to me. I mean, all the
action.
tropes they use in Alien are definitely horror tropes. You
Mhm.
know, like
That's fair. That's a good.
What
good
what?
point.
But so let me ask you guys: if it's not horror, and people consider certain books horror, then what genre is it? If it's not considered horror, and I'm trying to think of
Drama or
maybe-
like thriller,
Suspense.
suspense.
suspense. Like
You know that
is
you always had that category back in the day, horror suspense,
Yeah.
and they kind of like mashed the two together so that they could cover that gamut of, well, there's no monsters or anything. It's just like really suspenseful, and it may startle you. You know,
So
well,
what's-
okay. Here's
Because I
here's
think
like a
horror went from
profound.
monsters and all of like monsters, aliens, all that to like, oh well, the real horror is people and what they're capable of. So then suspense is like what horror became, because how many monsters can you do? I guess.
That was like Robert Kirkman's thing on The Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
You read it like this isn't a zombie book. I remember reading it. He was like, this is not a zombie book. This is like a people book because the zombies are just kind of in the background here.
The
The
Walking Dead are
scary
the people.
things are like the people. Yeah.
Yeah.
the Walking Dead are the people.
Are the people.
So I grew up, and we talked about it last week in the green room after the show.
Shaun of the Dead.
I grew up, and I still watch it now, watching the Twilight Zone, and
Me too.
we still
Favorite show
watch
ever.
it. We still watch it now. It's almost
Mhm.
like a part of a ritual at night, and that was, there's a couple of parts in there that would be considered a little horror,
It's
but
horror
I consider
suspense.
it's horror suspense, right?
Yeah.
Because there's some parts on there. I bet for the late 50s to early 60s that if you're watching it on TV for the first time, it'll get you. It'll give you that that thing. Nowadays it's so tame and minor. But we talked about
it, the
how
episode with the devil.
Rod Serling
Devil in the dungeon.
Rod Serling was ahead of his. That guy was light years ahead of his time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
My guy.
How
guy.
ahead of his time. So if you really think about it, they would introduce a lot of supernatural, a lot of devil, angel, a death. If you guys remember the episode with Robert Redford, who played Death, coming after the old lady,
If you ever get
he
a
was
chance,
fascinated
Caesar,
with that stuff.
you
Yeah,
should just look at this book. I know you're not gonna read it, but just look at it.
There's a big glare though. It's not
Just look
coming in
at
good.
Just look at it. Twilight. Speaking of Twilight Zone, we're talking about how like humans are the scary. What my favorite, I'll always rewatch it, is the Monsters Are Due on Maple Street.
We just
You
talked
seen
about
that
that. Yep.
episode?
Yeah.
Oh,
Of
man,
course.
that's like
With the
one of my
bunker,
favorite
yeah.
episodes.
Is that the one with the bunker, or is that the one with the alien?
No, it's the Alien.
Okay, 'cause
there are
there's-
two
there's-
similar ones.
There's two
Yeah, the
episodes,
bunker-
right? And both of them have to do with the people in that neighborhood going to mass hysteria. And
Well,
Rod
yes.
Serling was really good at the scarier thing is the human being itself, right?
So there's a
Who's
horror
that?
book out right now. First of all, Twilight Zone has a comic out right now from IDW, which I read. It's really well done. But what's even better done, surprisingly, Image Comics under Ghost Machine's label has a horror book out right now called Hyde Street.
I was going to bring this up too.
This
yeah.
thing is fantastic, and I'm not a big horror guy, but it's such a Twilight Zone with like these bleak endings, but intermixed with straight horror. Like Hyde Street is
Yeah.
pretty much like hell. And,
So I
and-
told Lexi about this book. No,
Mhm.
we all know Lexi. I think she likes it. She loved it. I was always wanting to write a comic, and I was like, well, shit, Jeff Johns just went and did it because I always wanted to do like a Twilight Zone EC comics type story, but with reoccurring characters, and that's what Hyde Street is. It's so good.
Yeah, you get these. What up, Fernando? You get these
I didn't read it past
these
one.
agents. They're pretty much like demons, and they're competing with each other to, I guess, get people's souls. So they have all these little weird setups to convince people to come into High Street. Once you come to High Street, you can never leave.
Interesting.
There's
Sounds like my ex job.
It's like a Boy Scout. There's the man with the X-ray glasses. There's a zombie character, and the Boy Scouts always helping old ladies, but he's not really trying to. He's the one they hate because he's always robbing the other demons of their victims. But yeah, it's really great. It's pretty cool.
Now you say you're not a horror fan, but you sound more and more like a horror fan.
Right?
I mean, 1,000%.
I mean, I don't go looking for. It's not on my pull list, but there are things that. Listen,
Yeah.
I gotta say again, for me as a creator, I'm always impressed by somebody. If they're, when I was in the military, I enjoyed Alanis Morissette. The reason why is I was
That's considered horror.
But the reason why is they played her CD when
Don't
we
you
were
think?
deployed, and it's all they played. And while I wouldn't have been a fan, you were talented enough as a writer to make me feel compelled by your plight. And that's the type of art I can respect when somebody writes something. For instance, Everything Dead and Dying. I'm not a zombie guy at all. I don't enjoy zombie anything. I read the first issue of Everything Dead and Dying because I have to. And the writing was so compelling that I wanted to read the next issue and the next issue and the next issue. And you know what I mean? Because it was such a compelling story. I'll probably never pick up another zombie book.
That's the current state of indie comics, though, is most of them are suspense / horror for the most part. Like, so many of them involve that.
Something is killing the children.
I mean, to go back to what Dan was saying about, like, are these comics horror? I think they're absolutely horror. I think James Tynion's a huge horror fan, and he loves to write horror stuff. And another writer who's a huge horror fan, and we see it come out here and there, is Scott Snyder. We were at Fan Expo, and one of the things I asked,
what was that?
Scott, I was like, Scott, what's your favorite? Oh yeah, I was like, Scott, what's your favorite horror movie? And he said it was the original Night of the Living Dead, the black and white version.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think what they're going to do stuff is it's horror. They're just disguising it.
Yeah. It's a superhero.
They know they're putting out horror. They're just not putting it in your face and saying it's horror. They're just disguising it, which is pretty smart. And I'm okay with it that they're getting people to check books out. But
Scott Snyder has a novel. It's a bunch of horror short stories. If you can find it, it's hard to find.
What's considered right
look
now?
At Absolute Batman and the body horror that you got across 3 issues.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, even if you look at some historic movies, you talk about Absolute Batman. That's a great mix. I mean, even movies that traditionally you wouldn't think of horror. Like, I'll think of one right now, RoboCop. Right.
Oh, really?
RoboCop blended sci-fi and horror.
Man,
that was horrific.
You just blew my mind. I'd never put together body horror and Absolute Batman, and that just that just took my brain to another level here.
Same thing with RoboCop, though. I mean, that guy got destroyed.
Well, well, that comment was actually pretty horror, Dan.
I was wondering when you're going to put him to the bottom.
Why? I because it's you know what?
This is Morissette, for Christ's sake. I mean, what is out of here?
Yo, the Little Mermaid. Listen,
it's just music King. Horror.
No, Lion King.
What is considered right now the biggest horror book going on? Is it something that's killing children?
I think so. I mean, Exquisite Corpses is getting popular, but I would say Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I agree.
Horror?
I mean, Nice House on the Lake is. I mean, it's not as popular as it once was, but that's pretty
Nice
good.
House by the Sea?
No, there's Lake and the Sea, but
but Lake is done.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a cool series though, but yeah, I mean, Exquisite Corpses is one of those. They're just fooling people again.
I think the biggest horror book out right now is Department of Truth.
I'll tell you, I feel like I like Tynian's I like Tynian's work, but I feel like Tynian to me is like Judd Apatow. He just makes his movies a little too long and doesn't know how to end them.
He
And I
doesn't
feel
make
like
movies.
no,
I
I
don't think he
understand that.
wants to end them.
But
That mind
Tynian
just
is
keeps
doing that
rolling
with
in.
some of his stories. He doesn't wrap them up
He
good.
needs to end World Tree.
You know what I'm saying? There you go.
Is Department of Truth? Department of Truth is horror.
It is horror. I think it's the biggest horror out right now.
Yeah, I love Department of Truth.
Would you, if you had a choice between Department
like
of
a
Truth or
conspiracy
Something's
horror.
Killing the Children, which one would you take on an island?
Department of Truth is better, much better
Yeah,
written.
Department of Truth.
Much
is a
better
read.
I think Department of Truth is a better read, but visually, something that's killing children's better. So I guess
Yeah, I
it's what
prefer
you're-
something that's
you're
killing the
arguing for.
children.
So,
I'm a big fan of like strong, like I don't know, like Erica Slaughter's like really great, you know.
I think
And if
so.
there's like a character in like a horror story that I really latch onto, I usually will favor that story more.
Isn't it?
You're right.
Isn't it interesting?
Dell.
Isn't it interesting? And Dell did say that apparently they're rebooting Tales of the Crypt, which is interesting.
They've been dropping it.
When?
Yeah.
Comic.
Where? Who's doing that?
The
'Cause that
comics,
sounds
Image
amazing.
Comics.
Oh,
Well, I
comics.
think he.
I thought
Oh,
you
I
meant,
think
like,
he. No,
an
but I think
anthology,
he. I
like,
think.
show.
No, I think he might be talking about the show. You know, because Dell doesn't read either.
That's HBO, so it'd be Max, right? So Netflix.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. I mean, you know, I liked the show back in the '80s. You know, I grew up late '70s, '80s. So, you know, I watched a lot of. I was never really scared. You know, it's kind of funny how some people will confuse horror to hack and slash movies,
Well, they
right?
called them slasher flicks, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because
part of it.
like back in the '80s, a slasher flick would be considered Friday the 13th.
My Bloody Valentine.
My Bloody Valentine, all the '80s stuff that was so over the top, you know, slashing of the head and it's rolling down the hill, and you know, and the body's, you know, still walking around. It's and it's so over the top.
you mean the good
The good stuff, yeah. So you know, so that brings me back. So I talked about it and I teased about it a little bit. So Brian used to own a video store. What year was that, Brian? When he used to own that?
Let's see. Oh my gosh, that was my first real job whenever I was 18 years old. I spent 22 years in that video store.
You ended up buying it? Is that what happened? The place you worked at? You know, just
worked there and just ended up buying it, and then eventually, you know, Blockbuster and Redbox and all that took over and just ruined it. But yeah, it was good while it lasted, for sure.
So you were one of those literal the mom and pop place where you go around the corner and everyone's kind of hoping that you would have the movie that Blockbuster and Hollywood Video were all sold out of, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we were there. Total. I mean, that you got to keep in mind the town that we were in is literally 2 miles long. So it's literally a staple in the community was the video store, and it existed for 26 years in the very same spot. So everybody knew it and everybody went to it. It wasn't just a Friday night thing. It was a every day of the week thing. Someone would come there and, you know, just look for movies. Even if you didn't leave with something, you still came and checked it out. Just walked around and looked, and it was really cool.
And were they kind and were they rewinding?
Were they rewinding?
No, not all of them.
You had a bunch of portable rewinders. You had a bunch of portable
you had all those portable rewinders. You had to like put them all in there, and right. Yeah. Did you used to charge people for not reminding? Did you charge a dollar?
No, we weren't that type of people. We barely charged people we barely charged them for the movie. I remember the rental price was like $2 for a movie. So
how much?
$2.
God,
there was no better Friday night than going to the movie store, picking out a couple movies, picking out some treats on your way out. That was it, man. That was the best time.
I mean, I did it whenever I was a kid before buying the store. So, you know, this is going back to 11, 12 years old. We used to go to the store, you know, so seeing the guy that owned the store was a great friend of mine. He passed away and we took over the store. And, but it was just an experience, you know, and kids these days don't have it. It'll never be the same. to go to the store and take a physical media home and watch it with you, it'll never be the same. And
it's very sad. I find it very sad that the kids of this generation will never, and I don't care if you complain, will never understand the excitement of having your friends over and going to the video store and picking out 3 movies because you know you're going to watch them back to back to back, and your parents are telling you to keep it down or how it is, and you're having pizza and you're having the soda and you're just goofing on probably the worst movies that you could possibly rent that your parents will let you rent because they know it's whatever, it's and if you saw a boob, you're losing your mind. You know what I mean? So, and then that's where you keep looking behind you, like, make sure there's no one coming to the door.
Yeah, rewind it. Let's watch it.
But there's something about that sense of emotion, that sense of excitement that will never be replaced. And I think that's why memories are the strongest thing that the human beings can actually hold on to, because it will live with you forever or until your mind allows it. And the kids nowadays, they just won't get it. They just won't, because everything now is
never a more soul crushing experience than centering your whole weekend around those movies or like DVDs and getting them home when they didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh,
right. Or going to the video store and they're out of stock, and you're like,
Or they're out.
That's to me is the hey, get there early. Yeah. Maybe, and like I said, you look behind the box. Oh, the tape's missing. Oh, and hey Brian, so when's that movie coming back? Well, it's not gonna be. It's not due to like 9 o'clock tonight. Could you put me in the list? Okay, but there's 12 other people on that list, so I guess you're never going to see it.
I mean, you sound like you owned a video store at once. You're telling my whole entire lifetime in the video store.
Well, no, it goes to show you how many times I went to video stores, and I would, what the thing is, and this is the coolest part about owning a video store and about those days, is the artwork. As a kid, the artwork on these videotape boxes, I would watch, especially the cartoons. I would see the artwork. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Then you watch the cartoon, and it's nothing like the fucking artwork at all, right? You're expecting some really cool animation, and it's the shittiest animation you could possibly watch. But the artwork is like Frazetta, it's like the fire and ice, that kind of stuff. And then you watch it, like, oh, this sucks. But I would think, Brian, that the horror section, the nightmares and the Halloweens and all those were pretty big. They're pretty big sellers or rentals at your place.
Yeah, it's so in our little town, we had people that were just absolutely crazy about horror. So they didn't want just the regular stuff. Sometimes they would pop in. They would want some oddball thing. Like that's when we started carrying some indie tapes, and then we would carry like foreign tapes like Dario Argento. His horror stuff was completely different than anybody else's. But then you would have your casual fans that come in, and they want Chucky, or they want Nightmare on Elm Street, or Friday the 13th, and those are the ones where you'd have 10 or 12 copies of each, so you'd never run out. But it's just the experience of coming in, looking at it, and seeing it, and taking it home, watching it. That I can assure you, majority of people that did that one time, they never forget that. I mean, I still remember doing that, so I know that they still remember doing that.
Well, that's one thing that we have yet to talk about is the tangible media, right? The grabbing a piece of something, carrying it to your car like it's a piece of like it's gold, right? And then to slide it in. I had the VCR that you had it pops up and you drop it back down, right? And I think I even had the remote. I don't know why the fuck they call it a remote, but the remote was a big ass cable attached all across.
Still attached to it.
There was no RF there, baby, no Bluetooth there. It was one long ass cord, and the rewinding sound, the forwarding sound, the little lines, the fact that you can hear the tape being eaten up by the rollers on your fucking VH and your VCR, right? All that shit they will never understand because nowadays it's just I want to watch Halloween. Boop, there it is.
Yeah,
You
immediately.
know,
Have you seen though the rise of physical media is
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's
right.
making a comeback.
Well, you know
in
why?
all forms, in print, in like music, vinyl,
Man,
especially.
I
Obviously,
can
that
think,
happened a couple of years ago, but now DVD and Blu-ray are starting to make a
well,
a
you know,
big big
you rent
comeback.
these things or you buy these things digitally, and then the provider
thing.
loses the rights to them and it's gone. You paid for it and it's gone. It's like I'd
Yep.
rather have them on
Yeah.
a Blu-ray.
Exactly.
So here's
And
the
you
thing about VHS tapes back in the day that you guys might not know. So we rented them for $2 a piece, but the cost of a VHS tape back then was the absolute rock bottom was $70 a piece.
holy shit.
To 100 for each tape. So they didn't start getting cheaper prices on sell-throughs until, say, Batman came out, Ninja Turtles, E.T., tapes like that, and then they would be the $20 tapes. But before that, any movie you bought was going to be $70 or more.
really?
And you had to trust that person to return that tape.
Oh,
You know, and I'm not sure you could do that with this generation. I'm not knocking people now, but I'm not sure someone would rent something and return it to you knowing you paid money for it and they're just going to rent it once and not
Hey,
return it.
Brian, so that makes sense,
Great.
Brian. Why back in the day, if you lost that tape or
Yeah.
someone broke into your car and stole that movie, that they would say we're going to charge you, $60 or $7,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
They
and you're
weren't
like, wow.
They were that's what the cost was. So you have to understand that how many times that tape had to be rented to make that money back.
What's up, James?
It's astronomical to you. I mean, just $2 a piece. It's going to take forever, and you got to hope that someone doesn't destroy it, like Caesar's talking about, putting in their VCR and rewinding and chewing it up and just destroying it. So it's, yeah.
God, it's crazy that it really is. What a time to be alive, gentlemen. I'm old enough
I'm
and
gonna open up a video store again. Let's go.
Shut your mouth. There's this thing about me that really enjoys this stage of my life. Brian and I are kindred spirits when it comes to health. We both had heart issues and very scary episodes. But we're alive to be in a universe where we have memories of the past of stuff we're talking about, and yet enjoying the fruits of this future. And we're in the in between, right? Even though sometimes I fucking feel like I'm in the upside down, especially here in this fucking house. But I it feels like it's a good time because I'm in a part of my life where I'm able to watch superhero movies on a big screen and yet have memories of being excited to watch the superheroes, the Super Friends versus Legion of Doom. I mean, I remember, so I have this cross pollination of good memories and yet creating new memories, and it's a good place to do. Now, this is the reason why I'm saying this. The kids of this generation, their memories are almost blended into the future. They can't say, "Oh, remember when we used to?" No, because when you grew up, DVDs never existed. You already had media.
You know what?
So
like Caesar, there's a fandom has changed, not just horror, but if we talk about like physical media and the horror movies, I know so many people who have started collecting VHSs over the past several years, specifically because of horror, and they're discovering the weirdest movies that you can't stream because they just don't exist on streaming. And they're now like, if they're combining the best of collecting with where we're at right now with nostalgia, because they're taking these old movies and creating limited runs of them, and they've got partnered with a cool artist that did like a Mondo poster before or whatever, and it's just
Mhm.
such an interesting time. But I love what I'm seeing with people who are really starting to get back into physical media,
Yeah.
and what that market looks like too, and what products are coming out. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's very it's fascinating. It's a fascinating take that I didn't think about it till right now.
I'll
You
tell
know,
you a story about this because I was thinking, like, there's some horror movies that weren't even ever made on DVD.
Right.
So people will seek out these and VHS collections. But I'm thinking back, maybe 2003, 2004. I was like, I had a bunch of DVDs at that point, and I'm like, you know what I want to buy? I'm gonna buy. I really miss Monster Squad, right? All y'all seen Monster
Oh, what a
Squad
great
before?
movie!
Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, that was like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. It was always like on HBO. Um, and like my nephew was young. I was like, I'm gonna show my nephew this movie. So I went on eBay, early eBay, and I'm like, okay, look, Monster Squad DVD. I'm gonna buy it, right? Uh, Ordered it. It came in. It was a freaking burnt disc, right? Because
No.
Yeah.
That's
and
funny.
and it didn't. So I found out it didn't exist on DVD. Right. This is 2003, 2004. Years later, I moved to Denton, Texas, which is like 9 hours above me, and I was at a Hastings. I don't think Hastings exists anymore either. So this must have been 2008. They had a deal where you would buy DVD and you can get the second one for like a penny or something, right? And right there was a Monster Squad DVD. I was like, oh my god! I thought back to like a few years ago. I tried to order it. They didn't have a DVD, so I looked at it. It was 2006, I think it came out on DVD. All because here, now that I live in Austin, the Alamo Draft House had
Mm.
a showing, invited the actors because people were nostalgic for it, right? Like this thing that everyone forgot except for the people that loved it. We're gonna show Monster Squad at Alamo Draft House. We're gonna have the actors here. We have people that were artists for Mondo make a poster. This is 2006, right? It blew up like crazy that they made the DVD
Yeah.
for it. Everything. I mean, that just yeah, that's crazy to me that at one point Monster Squad was not on DVD.
Well, and then some
Right?
DVDs you get
Looks like
they will not be like the VHS. They'll have cutscenes.
Monster
Um,
Squad.
so
Yeah.
that's the other problem with DVDs compared to VHS. I'll always prefer VHS over DVD any day of the week. It's just
Wolfman
I'm
has
pretty sure
ours.
until recently, 28 Days Later wasn't able to be streamed, so the DVD was like $70, $80, something like that.
yep.
I don't know if I told you guys last week or not, but I'll tell you, Mikey and Brian. So my stepson.
It's interesting that James said that.
Wait,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on, hold on. My stepson was like, "Oh, hey, Caesar. So I saw Running Man." I was like, "Oh, okay. So what'd you think?" He was, "It was all right, you know." I go, "Oh, so compared to the original, what do you think?" He goes, "There's an original?"
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you motherfucker!" There was this part of me that slid off my body. Went down the drain because I was like, do me a favor, go watch the original.
So he was
and
only
then
talking about the Glenn Powell one that just came out, which is
Yeah.
utter trash.
Yeah.
It's trash.
yeah, and I was so I think my wife's kind of out of it too because she saw the trailer. She was like, I'm like, there's the original. She goes, there's an original to that. I'm like, you're older than me. How do you not know this shit? What am I in a Twilight Zone? Because this makes no sense. But I told him, go watch the original, and then you can see how much probably they changed it because he was telling me the premise. I'm like, it sounds like nothing like the original movie, So I digress. I'm talking about stuff that kids will never know. They see it, they're like, "Oh, it's so great! Oh, go watch the original." And they're like, what do you mean there's an original?" Right? Because everything
Yeah.
they see, they think it's the first time they've ever ever came up with, right?
If you so talking about like people collecting VHS, people collecting comics, whatever you collect, right? There's always this like you don't know until you're in it, right? Like we collect comics, we know the ins and outs of it. VHS people know the ins and outs of that. I collect both. Really just horror VHS though. Um, Here's a crazy story though. So Sam brought up Mondo. Everybody knows what Mondo is.
Yeah, you might want to explain for some people
So Mondo here in Austin, it's a company that has like exclusive. It's different now because I think Funko owns it now, but back in the day they had exclusive artists. So artists would make movie posters for Mondo, right? And they would all be limited edition, right? Silk screen posters, limited to 50. People would stay overnight in line here um, to get,
Wow.
to get the poster, sell it for $300, to buy it for 50, sell it for $300 the next day. I mean, they would list it on eBay before the art show even opened up because they were like the third in line. So they'd take a picture, here's gonna sell it, right? So these are how hot these posters were, right? People love these artists. Well, they ended up having their own conventions, MondoCon, right? And I lived in Austin, so I would go to these MondoCons. I'd go to the art galleries and the art shows.
Oh,
What's crazy is every once in a while they'd have a comic book artist do a poster for them, right? So like Eric Powell, Mike Mignola, Frank Avila.
oh yeah.
I knew him from Mondo first before his comics. So I went to MondoCon once, right? And all these Mondo artists, like Jason Edmonston, Mike Mitchell, they had these crazy lines going back. I mean, I was like, damn, I'm not gonna get in that line, right? It's too big. You know who didn't have lines at these Mondo cons? Mike Mignola didn't have a line.
Yeah, I see
Eric
that.
Powell didn't have a line, and Jock was there too. No lines to see
What
these
now? Why
guys.
why do you think that is?
I think it's because they weren't exclusive to Mondo. Every once in a while, they would make a poster for Mondo. So the
Mhm.
people in the Mondo world did not know
No.
these comic book artists. They knew the Mondo artists,
Gotcha.
Um,
Interesting.
so everybody was there to see Jason Edmonston. Look at his stuff. It's almost like an Alex Ross type stuff, but he
Eyes
does a
Without
lot
a
of
Face.
horror. Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
Eyes Without a Face series that he does, where he only draws this right here of a
Yeah.
character, and you
Oh.
know who the character is. But I just walked up, Mike Mignola. Hey, Mike, you signed these for me? No line whatsoever.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
That's when it pays to be a comic book guy at these kind of places because you recognize who these people are,
Yeah,
Exactly.
right?
I think some comic artists are as big as they are outside of the comic sphere just because of their work with Mondo. Like Jock has a huge following outside of just comics, and it came from, I mean, his prints started getting more and more and more popular. Same with Frank Avila. Like there's a Jurassic Park from Frank Avila that's like got thousands of dollars or something like that. It's nuts.
What
Yeah,
is what this is for you and Mikey and Brian. What are your favorite bronze horrors to collect?
As far as PC books, I love Witching Hour. There's something about Witching Hour, but I'm really, really, really biased to Nick Cardy. So I will really just collect any Nick Cardy there is. And I'm not sure when that started. I used to be Joe Kubert crazy, and it was like I go back to the war books. But something about Nick Cardy, I'm not sure what it is. But so that's kind of my thing. Is Nick Cardy books are they're just too good, and I don't know. I tell everybody about it. I probably told too many people about it because I can't find them for the price I used to find them
It's
for.
crazy now, man. So it's good that you were buying them all up.
yeah.
You like this Nick Cardy?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Right.
that's very cool.
You know, the funny thing is that people forget that he drew the first Clayface, right? It's
I
Clayface, which is horror.
I think people forget what all Nick Cardy's actually done. To tell you the truth, it's the man has done so many. To do the amount of DC horror that he pumped out, like he had to just been drawing constantly. Like it's just there for a long period. That's every cover is either Nick Cardy or Luis Dominguez, or it's insane how many covers Nick Cardy did.
How about you, Mikey? What do you like? You like the House of Secrets? You like creepy?
Yeah, I mean, Bronze Age horror, of course, the House Secrets, House of Mystery.
Yeah,
Uh, the
I,
artist I liked is it's gonna be Bernie Wrightson.
yeah,
Everybody loves Bernie Wrightson.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I was again lucky enough at the end of his life, he moved here to Austin. He was at a lot of like small art shows. Um, and like our comic book store would have Bernie Wrights in there all the time. So I got a lot of stuff signed by him.
crazy.
Could just walk
That's
up, talk to
amazing.
him, look at his like original art books, like his like books of art. It was great, man. And
That's
it
mind
was
blowing. Wow.
That's really cool.
yeah,
I
it was
didn't know.
awesome. He moved here with Steve Niles because they were working on that Frankenstein book together. Um,
Um,
And yeah, he would just do like little art shows here. There was a place called Guzu Gallery that the comic book store owned, and it was tiny, dude. And they had a whole art show, and Bernie Wrightson was like guest of honor, and he was just like in this little tiny place. It was awesome.
That's so great.
So again, like Bronze Age, House Secrets, The Unexpected, House of
Yeah,
Mystery. I have a love for. I think DC did the better horror Bronze Age
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
there's something about the colors that Marvel did for their Bronze Age horror stuff that just
Mm-hmm.
pop for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
love the mix of their like bright colors with their Bronze Age like horror titles, which DC didn't really do,
no,
right? DC had like the
yeah,
muted
I
colors,
agree.
darker, which is badass, right? But something about the Bronze Age Marvel stuff, I love, the yellows and blues and like
The
the
orange.
vibrants. Yeah, I'm
Who
just
would
drawn to that.
who would have thought that this would be the book that that put House of Secrets on the map?
love it.
You
Love
know, and everyone all of a sudden realized, oh, Bernie Wrightson, even though he's been doing shit for a long time, this is the stuff that made him go, oh, that's Bernie Wrightson. I'm gonna check out his other stuff.
So
Yeah, I'm going
mistake
back
of
and looking for Jack Kirby horror stuff.
Oh yeah, I made the mistake of telling everybody about Nick Cardy, and then I also made the mistake of telling everybody how cool Charlton horror was.
it. Mm.
So now I have a hard time finding that. But if you haven't started picking that up, some of those books it's going to be too late. They're going to be already priced way too high. But it's the paper quality is completely different. So if you find high grade Charlton horror, you're going to pay a premium for that.
What about those the magazines? Like we're talking about, like I was talking about the creepies and stuff like that. They go very unnoticed. I don't know. I think they're still a little undervalued.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so too. Famous Monsters, Basil Gogo's covers. I have a whole bunch right above me here.
Yeah.
No one ever. I'll do live shows. It's rare to get somebody that wants to buy them. You get that one person, right? It's like, I'll buy it, I'll buy it, I'll buy it. But other than that, in live shows, people just kind of glance over those monster mags.
multiple people.
I'm
I
trying to
get
get Vampirella.
it's tough to move them, which I'm okay with it. I'll just keep them. I mean, creepy and all that's eerie. It's too cool. Like I'm not sure why people don't get into it any more than what they do, but
So this is here you go. There you go, Ish, right here. See, like stuff like this, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Morbius.
I was just about to
man.
say, I think that they have some of the best Morbius covers. So.
Right. The Vampire Tales is also very cool, and people forget too that
Morbius is a fake vampire.
he's still come on.
And weren't these things created too to kind of, sidestep the comic book code?
Oh.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, they were absolutely. It did have some stuff in it that. So I remember back in the day that was another newsstand thing. Like these were at the newsstand. Vampirella was at the newsstand, and I would see that. I felt like I was too young to see Vampirella at the newsstand, but it was there. But yeah, famous monsters and creepy and eerie. That it's definitely got stuff in it that comics did not have in it at the time. There's no way. It's
I mean, creepy, right? It's by the old
Yeah.
EC guy, right?
yeah, and then you have cool first appearances. I mean, you can really call Blade a first appearance in one of those. It was around. It was almost at the exact same time when Blade came out in those. It's
I love to own a creepy #1 first appearance of Uncle Creepy. Yeah.
yeah.
I have a creepy #1.
So it's so hard to find in good shape. Plus, those were always red. That's the other thing is, if you find those in high grade, that it's almost impossible. But because people read those magazines, they checked them out like you're supposed to.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
The first Blade, if you will,
Yeah.
right? Sort of, yeah.
Right. And look how cheap that book is compared to,
Well, yeah, because it's like, oh, it's a magazine style. It's not the same, and instead they go with, they go with the old Blade. Well, it's always fascinating, gentlemen, to talk about horror and why we love them and stuff like that. But Ish did bring up a topic that I think we probably should talk about, and X-Force movie. Is this something the fuck we really want? Are people clamoring Ish for an X-Force movie?
Is this a Fox movie or a Marvel movie?
It would be Marvel.
I mean, the answer is on some level, yes, right? People are clamoring for an X-Men mutant related property, period, from Marvel. They're clamoring for a reset.
That's what they're doing.
And the reset
we need to focus on X-Men before we go to X-Force.
Thank you.
Well,
I'm
there you
not
go.
sure X-Force can pull in. People are going to just be like, oh, yes. I've been waiting for an X-Force movie. I've never heard anybody say that personally. So, X-Men, yes, but X-Force, I mean, I would watch it, but I'm not sure.
It depends on what iteration of X-Force you're getting, right? Like if you're getting a Wolverine-led X-Force with...
No, they want a Deadpool-led X-Force.
Yeah, but Deadpool's never led X-Force.
I'm just saying they want Deadpool. They want to see Deadpool on the screen. Deadpool.
I'm going to say if you're not going to
you could have a Deadpool Wolverine.
Well, Deadpool's been on X-Force multiple times. You know what I mean? So
he never led the X-Force.
No. But I mean, if you're going that route, I mean, you've already introduced on some level, right? If they're playing on the old Fox, first of all, I don't believe it's happening. I haven't seen any reputable source.
Yeah, me neither.
At all.
Yeah.
Like there's no reputable source, which is always when I see those memes and those screenshots, I just go look for a reputable source, a CBR, an IGM, comicbook.com, any reputable source, they'll just report on it. You know what I mean? If you Google it, and it should be the first thing that comes up. So I haven't seen any of that. But I will say that while I don't think people are clamoring for an X-Force movie per se, they are clamoring for an X-Men or mutant related movie, period, point blank. And if you look at how the MCU started off, nobody was clamoring for Iron Man, right? Like no one was screaming to bring us an Iron Man movie. You know what I mean? They just happened to bring us a really well done Iron Man movie that, led into a bunch of other things that eventually led to the Avengers. You know what I mean? So you already have a vehicle in Deadpool and Wolverine. It's right there. It was really successful. It is a refreshing break from what's happening in the MCU currently. People are kind of tired of, you know what I mean? They're still going. They're still kind of, they're still kind of sludging their way begrudgingly to the theaters to watch these movies. But nothing has been great for quite a while, right? There's, people, some people give or take. Fantastic Four was great. Maybe for some people it wasn't. Nothing's been woo for quite a while, right? So they've already introduced several characters from X-Force in the Fox films. We're probably going to see those characters again on some level in Doomsday, right? You already got Domino. People did like that character. You already got Cable. I don't think Cable will be in it. I don't see a reason if you're gonna have a Wolverine led team to put Cable on an X Force team, in film. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm not clamoring for it either. But I'm clamoring for mutants on my television screen.
I mean,
So
according to our trusty AI ish that we were talking about earlier, it says there's no official confirmation on an X-Force movie in development by Marvel Studios. Recent rumors from insiders like Dan Richman suggest Marvel may be reviving a previously canceled Ryan Reynolds centric X-Force project, potentially post Avengers Secret Wars, but these remain unverified. And if you look at Marvel's current Phase 6 and 7 projects, there's no X-Force on the radar anywhere. So,
well, he's got a backstory of characters, right? We know
yeah,
X-23 is the only character that made it into mainstream Marvel. There's Wolverine, there's Deadpool, there's Domino, Zazie Beetz. Like
I'm with you, Peter.
he's
All those
got
people, I'm with you.
he's got Mimic, right? Not Mimic. Yeah, Vanessa Carlyle. Mimic, his girlfriend. So he's got like a little cast of characters that could comprise an X-Force team. You know, which it would be different. It wouldn't be comic specific, right?
But would people want to watch it, or they're just going to watch it because it's Deadpool?
I think they're just going to watch it because it's X-Men. People are clamoring for it.
Because it's an X-Men related franchise.
Yep. And I think, I don't know, I would prefer an X-Force other than a retooled X-Men because there's less expectations, I think, with an X-Force than trying to cater.
They're gonna have to take their time with X-Men, as Sam is pretty much asserted. They're really gonna have to take their time and do it right because.
But we know it's next.
Fox did like 10 films. You know what I mean? Like it pretty much gave us every he flipped X in every direction and still came up with X. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, they did so much with the X-Men. Marvel's really got to approach this right, especially for me, because I'm a diehard X-Men fan.
I'm with you.
Very disappointed what Fox did.
Yeah, I hate to be
really disappointed.
I hate to be the one that's like, you know, you keep hearing these words Marvel fatigue, and look at, I love all things comic books, so I mean, you won't hear that come out of my mouth. But that being said, it's getting, I don't want to say harder. It's definitely more difficult to drag my ass out to the theater to want to go and see these things now. I mean, like, I'll go see them, but I'm not running to see them. Like, even Peter made a perfect comment. Like, Deadpool Wolverine was like mad at me. I agree. I mean, like, you know, I saw it, but I think I saw it and I was so, you know, exuberant about that movie because we were just waiting for so long for something. And it came out.
The original X-Men team
like,
is just so boring.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really boring. I mean, it went to reprints for like 40 issues because it was just terribly boring.
Well, X-Men.
See, if you had a video store, you wouldn't have to run to the theater.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, exactly, Brian.
Oh my God, you would have a wait list for.
Yeah.
I will say, tying this into horror though. You know, and I posted something in my group today. I posted a New Mutants #9, which is one of my favorite issues of New Mutants. The first appearance of Selene Gallio. And she's absolutely one of my top 1% favorite characters ever depicted on a comic page. And her first appearance and her first interaction with the X-Men was terrifying. Like, she's just this energy vampire who just drains the life out of people till they are dead and moves on with no remorse. She does look really good and come from the age of Conan. You know what I mean? She literally lived in the Hyborian age and the whole nine, but it's very interesting because I always considered her based upon, you know, I've had her first appearance and I've read her early appearances, and based upon many of her appearances, I don't consider her to be a super villainess. You're like a horror character walking around in comic books and garter belts and thongs. You know what I mean? Like, you're actually a horror character. Like, you feed off of the life force.
A couple of X-Men characters.
Say again?
It's a couple X-Men characters that walk around like that.
Yeah, that are like horror characters. Well, you mean in garter belts and
and
thongs.
Ish, let me ask you, since you said you grew up loving vampires, were you not big Morbius fan?
No. No, Morbius never. You know, I didn't get him in Spider-Man. I didn't
Yeah.
get why he would be there. You know what I mean? I just didn't get it, and so he never. I don't hate him, at all. But no, and any of his solo series never really did anything for me. Like I don't really enjoy vampire comics, Marvel superhero. There, I don't enjoy Marvel's take on vampires.
Tomb.
I enjoy vampire comics, just not
Mm.
Marvel's take on them.
Hmm.
Well, I've gotten shit because
I
I've
did like
said
Dracula though, the comic
I,
series, by the way.
I've gotten shit because is that movie man? Yes, it is. Everybody, we got Brian, movie man 4-star, and Mikey Gruesome from my IG family. Um, I get shit because I said um you will never see a Midnight Suns movie in my generation. I just don't think you're going to see it. The prep work it would take to finally get them all together and all that stuff. Look how long it took to get the Avengers to assemble.
What?
You know what I mean? They did Iron Man, then the Captain America, then the Thor, and it was so far in between for them to do a Midnight Suns. To incorporate all these people, I just don't think it's gonna. Am I alone in thinking this? Everybody,
I didn't know that.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I agree.
I mean, I hope they can do
think-
something.
I
But
think you're
From
right.
Amazon? It's from Amazon.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the premise by which they get together is the issue, though. I think that's something that
Yeah.
a good writer can tackle. I mean, if you look at like the Expendables, right? They put together an all-star cast of people that kind of didn't know each other and just kind of, yeah, I meet you, I'm putting together a team, so to speak. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's just the premise and the writer can do that. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, is it necessary?
I think Marvel's fighting for its life right now. I mean, I don't want to sound so dire here, but if these movies don't go the way that they hope,
Yeah.
I think it's going to really be an inflection point for Marvel to say, are we going to continue to do live action hero movies? And I have already said this. I'll be amazed in 5 years' time, or maybe a little more, we even have live action superhero movies. I mean, animation offers so much more flexibility than these live action movies do. And
Yeah.
again, you're going to have a lot of competition now. DC's hitting home runs. They're going to have Supergirl coming out. If Marvel doesn't really hit a grand slam with these Doomsday movies, and it's going to be you're not going to see X-Force. You're not going to see X-Men. You're not going to see another Deadpool movie. You're just not.
I mean, I
that's a
think
good.
the way they go, the way they should go, based upon the foundation that they've set up, and I don't know what Marvel is doing and why they're dropping plot threads and just leaving them dangling and just not addressing them. But right now, Marvel has set themselves up not necessarily for a Midnight Suns movie, but for a Marvel Knights film. Like we've gotten Echo, we've gotten Ghost Rider, we've gotten
Yeah.
Ghost Rider, we've gotten Moon Knight, we've gotten Daredevil, we've gotten Punisher, we've gotten pretty much the bulk of the Marvel Knights. And it almost looks like that's the way the last season of Punisher ended, right? Like you're gonna get some form of the Marvel Knights, but that to me, like they're more in a position to do something like that with characters that are recognizable. Everybody
That could be a
recognizes.
series, couldn't it, Ish? I mean, that could be a Disney Plus
yeah.
series.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they're not going to try to make a movie about it.
You got
Well-
Daredevil, you got
well,
Punisher, you got
Pete,
Moon Knight.
Peter brought up a point. They could do these one-offs to introduce these characters, and then eventually do a 2-hour film with the Midnight Suns. I just don't think it's going to happen. But that's just me. Speaking of horror, I consider the Werewolf by Night one-shot horror.
Oh yeah.
Right.
yeah, that was great.
I thought
Right.
it was
I mean,
amazing.
it's one of my favorite
always
things
looked
it's one of my favorite things that Disney Plus did was that one shot. I loved it. I truly had fun. I had a wife watch it, but she doesn't have a choice. I mean, she watches all the shit I watch. She watches all the shit I watch. She can't stand any of this. I shouldn't say can't stand. She gives two shits about this stuff, but yet she could tell you about the movie because she's seen every single one of them, and she's my true test. So when we watch something, she's like, I was like, and this is from someone who doesn't really know the shit, right? this is the average person that Marvel is kind of targeting to. These people who are not like, oh, well, it's not like that in the book and blah blah blah. No, these are they're focused on the ones who are like, I'm gonna go with my husband to go watch this stuff, or I'm gonna go with my wife to go watch this stuff. I care less. And they're like, oh,
They get
I
free popcorn out of it, right? That kind of thing.
well, listen. I mean, you cut the hole out of the bottom, but the thing is that when you go and you take someone that and they look at you going, wow, I really enjoyed that. That's what Disney's going. That's what we're betting on, right? We're betting for the well. So when I took my wife to go see Superman, the new one, she's like, I give it like a 6 or something like that. When I went to go take a watch Fantastic Four, she loved it. She was like, wow, I really enjoyed that. I was like, go figure. There's no rhyme or reason for you. I mean,
I don't know what they're doing. They've introduced so many characters, 100+ characters, right? That they don't have to. And you guys mentioned it, Disney Plus, and who's the Hugh Jackman, right? For instance, there's comic books that I didn't really care for, but I would love to see in production as like a 1 hour special on Disney. Like, what was it, Hearts of Darkness, Sam? Daredevil, Punisher, and Wolverine. Like, why not just take Daredevil, Hugh Jackman, not Daredevil, excuse me, Wolverine, Punisher, and Ghost Rider, and just throw them in? Like, you got Hugh Jackman, you got the Punisher character. You know what I mean? You introduce Ghost Rider that way. You just do like a Hearts of Darkness one shot on Disney, like a special, and then you just start dropping one shots right on Disney Plus. Just these one-off stories like Hulk, Future, and Perfect, or not these. You don't have to dip into Fantastic Four that has 800 comics, right? You just take these little one-off stories that Marvel has done for 50+ years. You know what I mean? There was a 2-issue series with Daredevil. I mean, not Daredevil, Wolverine, Punisher, Ghost Rider. It's just 2 issues. 2 graphic novel type issues. You just drop it on Disney Plus. You know what I mean? That's how you introduce Ghost Rider. You just start dropping these characters. Then it makes sense when they pop up in a film. You know what I mean? Then it already makes sense to me. I get why Punisher is going to be. I don't get it, but at least it makes sense to me that Punisher is going to most likely pop up in the Spider-Man film. We've seen him on TV.
Yeah. Oh, he's
You
gonna.
know what I mean? We've seen him. He is in the. He is in the film.
He's. I mean, come on. At this point, Punisher's part of the. He's part of the floor now. I mean, he's a Punisher. How popular or how many people are going to go watch Wonder Man when it comes out? I think next week.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for you, Brad?
Not excited.
Yeah, I'm not excited about it really.
I'm excited.
Going back to like Caesar staying with his wife, I think I'm gonna have to skedaddle before my house becomes a horror movie, and I have to tag in to get the baby here.
Oh, go ahead, Mikey.
Mike,
Mike, good to see you, man.
Before you leave, Mikey. So
yeah. What's up?
This. The one thing is that I have to go with what Caesar was saying about expectations on movies. See, I feel like there's such a drastic difference from horror films and superhero films, because Mikey can probably vouch for this. You know what you're getting when you're getting ready to watch a horror film. The superhero film can go pretty much, kind of know what you're getting, but you don't really get disappointed too often with horror films, just for that fact of you're not setting the expectations up here. You know what you're getting. It's the character.
Well, yeah, and the fact that like
just get really
bad horror
films.
film can be fun.
Yeah,
a bad
superhero
movie, not that fun.
Yeah.
Well, they're both really tropey, right? Like they're both really, really tropey. They generally stick to the same tropes. Not that the horror movies and superhero films have the same tropes, but superhero films generally stick to a formula. You know what I mean? Yeah. Horror movies are a little bit more creative. There is a horror movie formula, but you see a lot of people.
There used to be. There's not now.
Yeah, a lot of people break the mold.
I
had this analogy in my head earlier. We went to we went to this music festival thing, right? My buddy and I, and we watched this band called The Locusts, right? I mean, just a noise band, super fast, and they would just stop, and it was amazing. We were like, oh my god, like how did they stop on a dime all together at once? It was crazy. And then we went to go see like other bands. There's like different stages, different bands, and we saw like bands we liked, but they were kind of slower bands, and we looked at each other and we're like, after watching this like crazy band, we were just like, oh my god, this is boring. And that's how I feel with like horror movies. Is like I am a horror movie fan, and it's hard for me to watch another kind of movie because
Yeah.
I'm just so used to horror movies that this over here, I
About what you
watch it and I
watched for
go,
that.
this is
But
this is okay.
does that ruin does that ruin movies for you that you really want to enjoy, but because you're kind of doing that unfair comparison that you're kind of like already poo-pooing the movie before you even watch it.
Maybe. I mean, some movies I'm excited to go watch, and then I'm just like, yeah, nothing really happened in that movie. Like,
Well, because I've noticed
and
that
in
they
horror
made like
movies, you
three
can always
different.
expect something.
Because I saw they made like three different werewolf movies all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Werewolf, and then another wolf, and then one with the dude from Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, and I was like,
Not very good. I watched the one with the dude
rights
that
are
played. What's his name?
open.
Frank something.
Yeah.
He's
Frank
in the
who?
Peacemaker show.
It wasn't
He's
good.
in a werewolf movie. It was so
Frank
bad,
Grillo?
but I watched all of it because it was so bad.
Hmm.
And I was like, I gotta see where this ends, and at least there's werewolves in it. This is what I'm saying about like
Yeah.
other movies. So if it's just bad, I'm just turning it off. But with like a horror movie that's like really bad, I'm like, hey man, I saw a werewolf, and this is just I need to know where this ridiculous story is going.
So my question earlier, I forgot to get to, was Mikey. The one thing I always want to know is there one horror movie that you can? It's kind of a two-part question. One horror movie you can remember that made you feel like, oh God, I shouldn't be watching this. This makes me feel weird, like or gross, or. And then what was your all-time favorite horror movie? I don't think we've ever talked about that.
Yeah. Well, one was a recent movie. Um, and it's an Ari Aster movie, and it was Hereditary, where I was so anxious in that movie. It's
Yeah.
not that scary. I mean, it's a scary movie, um, but it's the tone of the movie. And I later saw an interview with him where he said he rented a movie called, I forget what the name was, called like The Baker, the Chef, and the Why, something like this,
Yeah.
whatever, right? This movie was rated X, right? And he says he remembers that it's like a dark comedy, right? He says he remembers listening to an interview from the director of that movie, and they're like, "We're gonna rate this movie X," and they're like, "What? Why?" Like, okay, what do we have to do? What do we need to take out of this movie so that it's an R and not an X? And he said he was told that like it's not anything in the movie in particular, it's the tone of the
That's killed.
movie that is giving it this rating. And Ari Aster said he always remembered that, and he wanted to make his movies just the tone of just dark, right?
Yeah.
And I watched Hereditary. It was in the movie theater. I love the movie, but I was so anxious. If you see the movie, there's a part where there's something in the car that the mom's about to
Yeah.
see, and when that part comes up, I'm just like, oh my god, like I can't do it, right? That movie made me feel ugh.
Have you anxiety?
So that's the answer to that question. And my favorite all-time movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre original 1974.
There we go. So
Leatherface all the way. Yeah.
First time I saw it, made me feel like I was doing something dirty. I shouldn't have been watching it. That's the way it made me feel when I was younger. Like
Which
this
film?
is just too gross, and I shouldn't be watching it.
Which one, Brian?
Well, here's
Which one?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
here's the beauty of that original movie. It's not that bloody, but in your mind,
Yes,
It's bloody.
all those scenes that you see are just horrifically bloody, right? Like,
yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
It's true. It's not that bloody compared to what you see now, or
No.
what other movies you saw based on the what
That
year
was
that
the
come
one that
out?
scared you the most?
70s.
It didn't scare me the most.
74.
It
74,
just
yeah.
made me feel really, really uncomfortable. Like I was doing something wrong by watching it. Is what it made me feel.
Which movie scared you the most?
I'll tell you, hands down, The Wizard of Gore. It was at a sleepover, and I stayed up all night. And it's not even a horrifically scary movie. It was just the premise of it: a magician actually cutting people in half, and the fast, like moving scenes where they would zoom in on the saw and the blood, and it really terrified me. Like it was.
I used to be terrified
I've never seen that. That sounds
So,
crazy.
so two movies that actually scared me. Night of the Living Dead remake, the 1990 version that was directed by Tom Savini.
Yeah.
Tom Savini does the special effects, right? Well, he
Yeah.
talks about he was in Vietnam, and he says when he was making these zombies for this movie, he remembers all the actual dead bodies that he saw in Vietnam and took pictures of, and that's kind of what he did. That movie used to freak me out, man, and I think that's one of the Texas Chainsaw. That movie, best seen on VHS because something about the graininess just make these movies scarier.
Yes.
The other movie, and I was like in 7th grade when this movie came out, and it's more of a horror comedy, but the ending freaked me out, and I think for good reason. But if you've ever seen Tales from the Hood,
Oh yeah.
Of course, yeah.
the ending scene where there's like actual photos of like people being hung and everything,
Yeah.
that used to freak me out, man.
Yeah.
Like, and again,
I
I think it did what it was supposed to do. It brought attention to it, and yeah, I was like, I remember they put that on at a party I was at my friend's house in 7th grade. I was like, I gotta go outside, and I loved horror stuff, but I was like, this part's about to come up, and it freaks me out.
You, you know, I find. Go ahead, Ish. Go ahead.
I think the movie that scared me the most, it's not the scariest movie at all. For me, it was all of the stimuli surrounding me watching it, right? Like, I'm very young. I'm at home. I'm sitting in a wicker chair. Like, you know how those old wicker chairs, they're big and round. They look like thrones. I'm sitting in this wicker chair in the dark, and behind me is the rest of my living room, and it's totally dark. And in front of me is the television, and the only one's home is my mom, and she's asleep in the bedroom, and I'm this kid. And I don't know if you know that feeling when you're watching something scary, like you can't move, especially when all the lights are out. And when I started it, it was daytime. It was like late afternoon. It was Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
The first Children of the Corn. And he who walks behind the rose, Malachi, he wants you to. And the guy comes back with like possessed by the devil, and I'm sitting here stuck in my chair. Can't move. That movie just still has an effect on me to this day, but because of the situation that I was in, it really impacted me. The whole
it magnified
those kids were weird. They were like really weird. And the cars, the corns, and the picture, it was really weird.
That was a freaky ass movie. I remember watching that, and I couldn't sleep after I saw the movie. But even to this day,
like you show up to a town and there's no adults, it's just kids.
Oh, for sure, dude. The Exorcist to this day, like I can't. I mean, listen, man, I'm a grown ass man. That shit still gets in my. That to me is the all-time scariest movie. The only thing that scares me more than The Exorcist is anything with Dakota Johnson in it. I just saw The Materialist, and I'm like, I was disgusted. I'm like, I cannot believe that they made that into a friggin' movie. Like,
I don't even know who Dakota Johnson is.
Bingo. Like the movie Cooler.
The Exorcist, terrified me. Like I grew up going to a Catholic school, so like that stuff is like ingrained in you from the time I could read on. And when I first saw it,
but the thing is, I was with you, Sam. It scared me until I got older and saw the re-release in the theaters. Bored to death.
That's why I put Amityville over The Exorcist.
Awful.
Guys, I'm gonna head on out of here.
Get out of here, Mikey.
Love you all.
Take
Thanks,
care,
pal.
man. I'm dying to follow you.
See, here's the difference between you
Appreciate
guys
you,
and
Mikey.
We still chase that feeling. We still want that feeling of the terrified feeling and the, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with this movie? And it's hard to find that these days. I can't find it. It's got to be older movies.
Did you watch Weapons?
Yeah. So recently I did watch that, but recently one of my favorite was Black Mask Black Phone is incredible.
There's two of them, right?
Yeah. The first one has got everything you want in a horror movie. It doesn't have the 80s feel that I really like. There's just something about it. First Halloween for me is my all-time favorite movie.
Will Kelly watch this with you, Brian?
Kelly, so she'll watch some of them. Freddy Krueger is not her favorite. She absolutely cannot stand Freddy Krueger, but she loves Poltergeist. Poltergeist is her movie 1 and 2. She loves watching them.
1,000, 2, 1,000.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me today.
Freaking weird.
Carol Ann. Run to the light.
It is. Yeah, it is kind of. Am I wrong to say that I don't have a most scary movie? Because I guess I don't know. I guess I never.
Goonies. That's why you won't watch it.
He's just not scared of anything. He's too tough.
I think it's
You-
a horror,
you-
the
you-
horror fan thing. If you've been a fan as long as I have, it's just a common question. I ask that question to almost everybody is, hey, what's your favorite movie? I don't care if it's musicians or if it's, I've asked that question to Rob Zombie before and had this conversation, and his is Halloween.
Well, of course.
Hands
Yeah.
down, that's what he said.
Yeah.
It was, we've had detailed conversations about it, and it's, so he gets it. He collects physical media. VHS tapes are his thing, man. He's got a crazy collection. When we closed the store, there was actually a couple of tapes I sent him that he needed for his collection. It's
Well, that's why he ended up remaking. That's why he remade Halloween. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
funny little story about him when we were talking. So some of you all might not know, but I'm in the funeral business as well. But his question to me one time was, so what is more dead, the video store or the funeral business? So this was at the very end of the video store days. And that's only a question Rob Zombie would ask somebody. So which business is more dead? But
you said you're also in the funeral business. Is that what you said?
yeah. I'm a every day of my life I'm a crematory operator.
Well, I gotta tell you, Brian. No wonder you
real.
fucking like. No
Too
wonder you
real.
like this shit. Yeah, I mean, come on. This guy loves horror story. I mean, loves horror stuff, and
Yeah.
then he burns bodies for a living.
It's
One day, one of the bodies is gonna sit up. He's gonna be like, "I know what to do. I've seen this before.
I've been waiting for this moment my whole life.
Waiting for this."
And then he trips and knocks his head and passes
I've
out.
done my research. I've been training for this.
That's a story in waiting.
Yeah.
That's
He's gonna be
there's
more afraid of him. He's gonna be like, "Okay, so what brought you back? What makes you take? Tell me all the things."
That's funny. But you know what? I guess growing up, nowadays, I guess what I consider kind of freaky. I don't get scared. I get the goosebumps, right?
Yeah.
Probably the last one that did that to me was probably the first Conjuring. I think the first Conjuring kind of did that to me, right? I got the woo, the willies, right?
Yeah.
And if I get that, something's being done right. If it's too like over the top, like all right. So we saw a preview for Black Phone 2, right? And my wife's watching on what preview. You know how sometimes they show them if you're on Hulu, whatever, they show like the little preview. And she's like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "You're not gonna watch it, so don't worry about it." And then it said, Black Phone 2. She's like, "There's a second one?" You mean there's a first one? I'm like, "You're not gonna watch it, so don't
I feel like the first of a movie, you're scared. But I feel like by the time they've gotten to like third and four, you want the people in it to get what they deserve. You're like, you've seen this now 4 times, and you're going to the same shit. I hope you all get murdered. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do prefer suspense. I'm kind of finding out that I'm not a horror guy because I'm just not into it. But I do prefer. I'm not a zombie guy. I do like me some vampire stuff, but I've noticed I am more of a ghost supernatural guy more than anything else.
I am
And you're not, right? But that's the stuff that kind of gets me. That's the stuff that gets me gives me the willies. A guy walking around with the machete does nothing for me. It just doesn't scare me. Doesn't do any of that.
Yeah, I think I experienced a ghost movie and it wasn't even really scary, but I never watched. It was always more of the slasher films. But Lady in White is a ghost story that absolutely gave me the creeps because it is, it's just full on ghost story, and that was before ghost stories were popular. So it's this was definitely early '80s, but yeah, I can see that. It's kind of along the same Poltergeist. That's ghost story, So I like those. I do like those stories a lot. I think they're really cool stories.
Were you a big fan of Phantasm, Brian?
First Phantasm, I'll be honest with you. This Halloween, whenever they did the AMC specials, I tried to watch Phantasm 2 again, and I couldn't make it all the way through it. First one I could watch, but the second one is so bad. I just couldn't make it through it. And
I never saw the
Yeah.
second one.
I always put
but,
Amityville over Exorcist, but one, I never would watch Exorcist, and now it looks really bad. And I think the things that Amityville did to me were more effective because you didn't really see all the shady shit. And as I was telling Dan, I live in New York, right? And the Amityville house is in Amityville, New York, and it was just really close to home to me. You know what I mean? It's like based on a true story, and I'm like, yo, that really impacted me. Speaking of like ghosts, and you know what I mean, that was one that really had an impact on me, was Amityville.
I miss
I'll be
the
honest,
days
I
when
like
you're
the
blissfully
remake.
ignorant
I like
about
the
stuff,
remake.
because like when they say based on a true story, you figure out that it's like so loosely based. Like they're like
Right.
Very
not even
loosely
really a true
based.
story at all.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, but
Very
when you're a
loosely based.
kid and they're telling you, yeah, and the house is in Amityville, New York, and you're like,
Yeah.
yo, and you live in New York, and it's like, hold on, wait a minute.
It's like-
Trust me, when you're a kid and you hear based on a true story,
Oh, you're
you're
losing
like,
your crap.
oh, this really happened. So the house talked and the
I was
flies
told to
and all
get
that.
out. Yeah,
that
but
the
it was
house is
effective.
done-
Like the flies were really effective, and it was, to me, that's more effective to me than you know, a demon, you know, raping a cross or raping herself with a cross, or you know what I mean. It's just more effective to me. You know, just little subtle things like flies and you know the house
Yeah,
reacting to the people, and you know the shadows and the music and the tone. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The movie poster for Exodus was intimidating. You know what I mean? Just the poster of the guy with the hat and the shadow. It was just, you know what I
They did a
mean?
comic book
that was
homage of
scarier.
that. Do you know what book that was? Anybody? I can't remember.
What's that?
There was an homage of that cover, a comic book homage of that Exorcist poster. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like
Stray
a
Dogs?
no. It was old. It's like a X-Men or Fantastic Four or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting. We had a couple shows back. We're talking movies, strictly movies. I think ish.
Oh,
You were in
Justice
that one. You were in that one, and we talked about with my buddy Tom, who's a massive Jaws fan, and Jaws was considered horror.
Yeah.
Right, of the genre. And I got to tell you, they did a good job of scaring millions of people from going into the ocean.
Yeah.
Trust me on that. I mean, there's fucking people probably wouldn't get into their own pool after they saw Jaws, right?
Well, you remember
There-
Piranha after that as well.
Well,
Piranha.
Piranha right after that. It was during that stretch, which I call it was
Yeah,
alligators,
Yeah.
frogs,
exactly.
tarantulas, piranhas. I mean, I remember the first time I saw piranhas, the original piranhas. It scared. Now that kind of scared the shit out of me because it was kind of real, right? Because piranhas are real, and piranhas do eat stuff, you know. And so I always had, and then of course the way they do it, right? It's like the craziness. Oh, is that it right there?
Yeah,
Who's
Justice
that?
League International.
Yeah,
But who's
that's-
that supposed to be?
That's Exorcist.
Dan-
Yeah, that's
Yes,
the
this,
No,
moon poster.
no. No, I know that, you fool. But who's the guy standing there?
Probably Amanda Waller.
Yeah, that's exactly who it is. Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. Of course, you would know that ish. So
There was
you know
a
the
movie
funny
that came out back in the 80s called Deadly Eyes. And it was about these rats that ate this like contaminated corn.
you gotta love
And they
it, man.
grew to like the size of like small pit bulls. And they were like
Based on a true story.
just eating the shit out of people on the subway.
In,
Like,
in New York,
all like
in the
the
subway
red
of New
eyes.
York,
They're just eating the shit out of people in the subway.
taking
That-
large
Yeah,
pizza,
I see it.
taking large slices of pizza, were they running away with large?
They're eating people, bro. They were deadly eyes.
You know what? But I gotta tell you, there's something about the 80s, about the movies. The most just outlandish shit like that, right? A set of rats were in a chemical plant, and they, you know, they gnawed their way into some whatever radioactive. Next thing they're 400 foot tall. What I used to love and I miss about the 80s was the anthology stories that they would come out with.
Creep
right?
show.
Creep Show was, and I'm a massive fan of anthology. I like different stories. I think that's why I like Twilight Zone so much. I want different stories every single show, every single night. I don't care if it's 3 of them or 4 of them or just 2 of them. something different, right? And that was one of the reasons why, as a kid, we liked A-Team, or I liked A-Team, because, or the Incredible Hulk, yes, you had the
Did
small
you say
background.
A-Team?
A-Team. Let me tell you why. A-Team, like with B.A. Baracus, fool. I pity the fool who don't want to watch A-Team. You know, this is the thing. Because they went from town to town to do stupid shit. Same thing with Bruce Banner. He went from town to town to go save up, to go work at a mom and pop place to buy a shirt, you know, and then the street thugs were messing around with the guy's laundry mat, and he had a, oh, there you go. See, there you go,
that's freaking
Ish.
awesome.
That's a coloring book. I didn't mean to
I
interrupt you.
have the first issue over there somewhere.
Yeah. I'm with you. I
But
love 18.
I like that stuff. Now, Tales from the Crypt was cool, but they also had those other movies. Do you guys now help me, Brian, because you might remember.
B-Team.
They had certain movies. One of them was with Emilio Estevez, who went to the video game.
Oh, oh my
Went
God.
into the video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
You're not talking about Tron.
Not Tron. I was gonna say Tales from the Dark Side, but Tales from the Dark Side is another one of those shows.
Yeah.
That fucking intro. That you want to talk about shit that scared the shit out of me? The intro to Tales from the Dark Side. The music, because at first it's all like the stream and the forest. Nightmares. Thank you.
What's this
Nightmares.
Emilio Estevez movie where he goes into a video game?
Yeah.
It's called The Bishop of Battles. Is a segment.
Bishop of Battle. That's right.
That's
So-
the game. That's the movie.
It's a segment in it. It's like
It's a segment. So Nightmares was a total of like 3 or 4 stories. Kind of like, remember when they did Twilight Zone, the movie? They did like 4 of those stories. It's like that.
Terrible.
You know,
movie.
they did the Twilight Zone movie. I think the best part was probably the kick the can. I gotta be honest. That was I like that part. You know, with
Mhm.
Scatman Crothers. You know, I like that. The other ones it weren't that great. You know, but I love that there was an era where they had movies like that where there were just
Cat's
4
Eye.
different stars.
Was
Cat's
one of
Eye
those movies.
was another one. That's right. Cat's Eye was one of those movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Really
Wasn't it Cat's? Wasn't that the one where the cat was stealing the breath out
He
of
was
the guy?
not, he
right?
wasn't really stealing his breath though. He was saving him from the little troll that was stealing his breath.
That's what it was. That's what I'm talking about. So in the 80s, I missed that.
Yeah.
You go to the theaters to watch 4 different movies all crushed into one, you know, and they don't do that kind of stuff anymore.
Well,
Everything
exactly.
has to have a backstory.
There's a space for that right now, and I haven't seen a good anthology horror series in, gosh, probably like almost 20 years.
Well, that's why I think if they redo Tales from the Crypt, it'll be pretty successful. I think.
Never watched it. I have no clue where to even stream it. But there was a horror anthology series called what was it, Masters of Horror,
Oh yeah.
and
I did a bunch of those.
they brought a ton of like famous horror directors in to just do like maybe 1 or 2 episode stories, and they had like, I believe, John Carpenter.
Yeah,
was
they
in there,
had the big names. They had John Carpenter. And they were really short. They were only like an hour long.
Nightmare on
they
Elm
were really
Street.
good.
The television series was pretty similar. It was just every week it was just a horror story. Every once in a while, you might get a Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, but he just kind of narrated just weekly horror stories.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and that's the stuff it's kind of missing nowadays. Now, I don't know if the generation nowadays would be kind of bored of that.
you know what would do really well?
You think they would do it because they have short attention spans. You would think
Exactly.
Would go well.
I think like more. I mean, think about when you watched The Blair Witch and what's the other movie, Paranormal Activity, for the first time.
Yeah.
No.
Found footage. If there was a found footage, a little anthology series that was, God, even like 15
I like the
minutes
Paranormal
long,
Activity
could you imagine
universe.
how crazy the whole world would watch it?
I liked
Yeah,
how
that's what I'm
everything
saying.
tied into each other across like 4 films. I'm mad they didn't finish that universe. Like they left the last film on like a cliffhanger and didn't really follow what was going on with that family and all the people.
I never saw it.
Really?
I love Paranormal Activity. I love
Yeah, I
They
never.
all tie into each other.
Yeah.
And the link is not like right in your face. It's like a really like you have to really watch and pay attention to see, because it's not like, well, this guy was in this movie. It's just, this guy happened to grow up with the people who were in the other movie. You know what I mean? The link it goes all the way like across the country. It ends up in California. You know what I mean?
There's something about it that something about making it look very real and me knowing that it's fake. I don't. It already does a psychological thing on me, and I'm like, it's not. I don't know. It's just kind of fun.
I think that's why
horror.
Blair Witch was so successful, is because they played it up so well.
Mhm.
Like
Oh,
the
you
Blair Witch,
know.
they literally played that up with missing posters and
Oh my God!
Yeah.
They made a
So
video. They made a documentary about the documentary,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
saying that the actors were gone and all of that until they showed up at the award show.
the found footage, and they did that. If you want how to make an indie film with zero money, that's the way to do it, man. And the funny thing is,
not just an indie film with zero money, the first of its kind.
oh yeah, they were pioneers, and this is the best part. They never once showed anything. That is the best thing. They didn't show a witch. They didn't show even
articles. I'm seeing current articles that say did they show the witch in this scene, and still we don't know. Like we don't know.
Right. I didn't even meet a girl named Blair. I mean, they did nothing on this show, right?
Facts of Life.
You never watched the Facts of Life?
They did it. No, I'm talking about meet in person. I'm telling the show, you idiots. What I'm saying is they did it so well that you psyched yourself out. They did it where you scared yourself, right? You freaked yourself out. And the fact at the very end when the dude's like staring in the corner, and the camera falls and that's it.
Yeah.
That's genius.
They leave it up to you to speculate what was going on.
Right. Was he taking a piss?
Opinion about that.
Was he rolling a joint? Was he taking a piss? I mean, what was he doing on the corner?
Dakota Johnson.
Okay. And on that note, wow, I just realized what time it was. All right, guys. Wow, that was fun. I told you, Brian, this shit goes off, man. We talked 2 hours of just nonsense.
This is right up my alley. I mean, I have this is my sign. I never even Dan knows that story, so that's a real quick story. So
yeah, go ahead.
We sold the store. We of course had to sell everything, so I sold the sign. Just a few months back, I got it back after like 13 years. So now I use that as my comic book display for when we do live shows.
So how did you get it? You knew the guy you sold it to, and you asked him if you could get it back?
It was at an antique store in the same town. My wife and I were driving by one day, and I was like, what the hell? There's my video store sign. So we roll on over, and I take both of them home with me. I got another one in the garage. I was like, I have to have them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you used to have a bunch of posters as well? Because I know you guys used to get the posters, right?
Yeah, I did. We at the end, when you're just done with not making any money and just going in the hole, you're just willing to give anything away. So I found a post just yesterday where we closed the store, and it was the last night, and I said that we had like 50 movies left on the wall. Whoever can bring a bag big enough to take them all, just come and get them. And that was pretty much what we did with everything in that store. It was like, just take it. There were a slight few people that wanted certain things because the store meant so much to people. We had the rugs, we had the signs, there's still people that have that stuff.
Amazing.
And I'm pretty honored to know that people still think about it. I run into people every week that were kids that came in that store, and they're like, hey, I remember you. That's the other side note. That's where my screen name comes from. So it's always been, I was the movie man at 4-Star Video. So it's Movie Man.
Oh,
you mentioned like, at the end there, you're in the hole and just trying to make ends meet, but in a sick way, don't you kind of miss those days too?
I do. That's what Kelly and I, we've said it before many times, is we miss the store and miss visiting with the people, but the financial burden I don't miss one bit, but we do miss it. I mean, like I said, I spent just years. I mean, 22 years of my life was in that store, so it was important to me.
But also get the whole thing like just take it. I'm done.
Yeah,
I
we
just
were
want to
just throwing stuff out the back door. Just take it.
you
I
know,
don't care anymore.
take the carpet, take the doors. I don't care at this
And
point.
people were like, "You're going to miss this." I was like, "No, I'm not going to miss it." So now I
Now
regret.
you
There's
miss
a lot
it.
of things I wish I would have.
You were right. They were right.
Yeah.
I did want to forget. Yeah, that's right, Peter. Amazing Stories was one of my favorite shows growing up in the 80s. I loved that show. And my favorite episode, and every single time I think of Amazing Stories, I think about the World War II episode where he drew the tires on the plane.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just I just remember seeing that, going, "Wow, this is some cool shit." All right, so let's go around the horn here, and as always, let us know how we can find you and all that good stuff. And let's go ahead and start with the guy who has nothing, and that's guy Dale. Here we go, Dan. Why don't you go ahead? Where can we find you and all that stuff?
You can find me right here. That's where that's where I reside. But guys, we were lucky to have Brian and Mikey on tonight. They're vital members of our Instagram comic collectible community. That's where I was fortunate to meet these guys. And I can't stress enough that if you like this conversation, if you want to have more of this kind of content, come on and find us out on Instagram. That's where I live, Tree City Comics. And you'll find me there regularly posting about the books I'm reading. Every new comic book day, I'm writing about the books I'm reading. There's spoilers, so don't swipe if you don't want to be spoiled in the book. But if you don't care about that and you want to see if the stuff I'm reading, and if you agree, disagree, I'd love to have that kind of discourse. And there's always stuff going on. We over the holidays we had a holiday gift exchange. Brian was part of that. It was fun. We just do that kind of stuff. So again, I encourage you to come and find us out on Instagram. Once again, Caesar, love you, bro. Thanks for having me. Enjoy this show. You're such a great host. You do a good job kind of keeping the conversation moving. And these guys, Sam and Ish, I mean, these are like my brothers, man. So
Tell everyone where you got the free run toys from.
Which ones?
All of them. The ones that are sitting there on your shelf with their legs dangling over the shelf.
Oh, right here. This was a gift from my daughter and her friend.
That's awesome.
These were gifts. These were holiday gifts. So everything else, I'm collecting all over the place. I don't want to talk manga because Caesar will kick me off the show, so I don't do it. But if you want to find out more about that stuff too, come on and follow me on Instagram, and you can read to your heart's content.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Don't do that, people, because it's not a good idea.
Don't talk
Sam?
my gosh. Appreciate you having me as always. I learned a lot tonight about horror movies and horror comics. Stuff that I don't keep up on, which is amazing. It's always nice to meet new people here too. Appreciate the entire community hanging out and watching with us. You can find me mainly right now on Whatnot under Comic Sam. Been running a couple shows, mainly Absolute Focus, but we've got a Spawn show coming up, Marvel show, and independent show, which has a lot of like cartoon books and stuff that'll be in there. Some hard to find like Sonic the Hedgehog issues. So check me out there, follow, and you'll get the alert that I go live. But thanks. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Sam. All right, Brian. What do you got going on? How can we find you? When's your next claim sale and all that good stuff?
I appreciate it. So I'm always on Instagram. Me and Dan, we've done some, I'm not patting ourselves on the back, but we've done some pretty cool things on Instagram. And Dan is always my go-to. Anytime I need help with something, he's always there. Caesar, you've been there for me with this health scare. And you were one of the first to reach out to me, and I truly do appreciate it. It's knowing that someone understands what I've been through really does help. Both of you two were there for me. Dan was probably the first person I may have called in the hospital. I remember calling from the bed, and he accepted my call. So thank you. But Instagram is where you can find me. I do shows at least twice a month, maybe 3 times a month. I do have a show Friday, Comic Underground. So come and check us out, and you can find me easily. Movie Man 4-star. I'm always posting some kind of nonsense.
I think I follow Comic Underground. I think we follow each other.
Yeah, because you were on that show once with what's his face?
Right, I was on the show.
Yeah.
Why am I losing my?
We used to hang out, show books, and sell a few here and there, but most of the time it's just an escape. When you have a job like I do, you need that 3-hour escape every now and then. So come and hang out with us, and we'll talk comics again. And you never know what we'll have. You'll definitely have some horror books. I guarantee you that much.
Yeah,
but
that is true.
yeah, so
Well, I appreciate you,
guys
Dan.
are the absolute best. And this was so much fun. Thank you so much.
You got it, pal. You got it. Ish. Oh, Kyle, that's his name. I'm sorry. I completely. You were on the. Didn't you go on with Kyle and read some books?
So I
or
gotta
something
say,
like that?
I learned a lot as well. I gotta echo Sam's sentiments, and I really appreciate being involved in this particular show because it was really dope. Really learned a lot. Not really used to talking horror, and you guys kind of brought some stuff out of me, so that's really cool. I gotta make sure that if I'm not following you, that I am, because Dan recommends you. But also, it's just been a pleasure kicking it with you. So I'm gonna make
Okay.
sure that I find you on Instagram, and not gonna do what I normally do. Shout out to go around the table at all. You already know every week, week in and week out, there's always a dope panel. Everybody here is dope. If they weren't dope, they wouldn't be here. It's just what it is. Guys been doing this for I don't know how many years now, faithfully, and you guys keep showing up. So make sure y'all go to YouTube and click like, click on the video, watch the video, give it a view, give it a like, support. Y'all can find me at Comic Sense, COMIXSENSE on Instagram. And on Facebook, there's a page and a group where the Robin Hoods of the Unfair Market. So at the end of the month, January 31st, we're getting ready to do a big show on Saturday. We do a Tuesday live stream called #AllTheSpec every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we give the best value on the unfair market on new books, keys, specs, #1 issues. But the end of the month, January 31st at 11 a.m., we're going to be taking over our shop. We're doing one of our famous takeovers. It's going to be a really big show. We're going to have some really big books, a lot of fire at really low prices, because that's just what we do. A lot of absolute stuff that we're going to be at. I think most of the stuff I have priced right now at half of what current market is. So I'm probably going to knock more off by the time the show comes. But yeah, make sure y'all tune into that. Go to the page, find the event, click going, click interested, show up, show some support. Even if you're not going to go, just click going and click interested. Well, we can use all the help. You know what I mean? It's going to be a big one. So
Yeah.
Appreciate you all. Thanks for tuning in every week. I'm Issue X.
Well, listen, what a show. Like I said, it's not easy to come up with these topics, and I always try to find some fun stuff that will get people talking and engaged. And this is the good stuff. And Brian, thank you for jumping on. You and Mikey. I thought about you guys first, and it's fun to think about this and talk about this. You are now a friend of the show. You've always been a friend of mine, but now you're a friend of the show. So this will not be your last time on the show. So don't be surprised if I come calling for you when we start talking movies again, right? Because
absolutely,
as a matter of fact, because every first of the week, the first show of the month, we have a movie review show where we talk about movies that we don't review. That's just the way it is. So don't be surprised if I come knocking and say, "Hey, how'd you like to jump on and talk movies?" Because I know you've seen a lot of them. So
yeah.
That being said, next week should be a fun show. Or next week we finally have the long-awaited PCH Golden Oldie show with our buddies Crime City Comics and Code Blue, along with Nerds Pub, is going to be jumping in to talk about the rabbit hole that we call PCH books, man. These pre-code horror books.
Cold horror.
Woo, man! You want to talk about? You guys want to get a learning annex going? Tune in next week if you want to learn everything about pre-code. Ish will be there. Sam will be there. Dan will be there. The gang, along with the other three guys, is going to be a full panel. We're going to have a full go. There we go. Tales of Crypt with the what do they call the three hags? What do they call them? The three old hags?
Yeah.
There's a name for them, right? Is it the three old hags?
Yeah, I know they're the hags, of course. I'm not sure.
The hags is something, right? That being said, we'll see you guys next week. Be kind to each other. Remember, don't be a douche. See ya.
Absolutely.
Comic Menu Podcast is sponsored by Realistic Comic Books.